G'day there guys, Alamolester here and welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront II video. Today we're going to be talking about the most recent patch which came out on the 19th of February. This is patch 1.2. It's a 2.5 gigabyte download. That's on console at least. I'm not too sure what it is on PC. Might be the same. So, it's not a huge download, but there's been quite a lot of changes. Particularly, there's been a massive nerf to just about all of the heroes. But I'll get started on the most exciting aspect of this new patch, which is the new game mode, which is out for a limited time called Jetpack Cargo. Now, the game mode basically speaks for itself. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's cargo or capture the flag, but everyone's got jetpacks. So as you can see, there's a pistol trooper and a rifle trooper, and you can see that they both have the same abilities set. So rocket launcher, the jetpack boost, and the jetpack dash. It doesn't really matter all too much whether or not you're going to pick a pistol or a rifle guy, because there seems to be some unwritten law that everyone decided to follow, which is just everyone uses the rocket launcher. Now, this game type, I've had a lot of fun playing it, and I sort of wish it wasn't just a limited time only thing. Really fast-paced action, everyone's flying around, rockets are going off, explosions here, explosions there. It's exhilarating, and I'm having a really good time playing it. So make sure that you check it out and get on it before they take it away. And they've said limited time, but they haven't said exactly when it's going away. So I guess we'll just see with the future. Now, with the rest of the patch, I'll leave the link to the patch notes in the description so you can go and check it out, because there's quite a long list of things and there's an awful lot of bug fixing and design fixes in there that I'm not going to get into in this video, because it's a lot of aesthetic stuff and not everyone might have experienced the same issues that they're fixing. So if there's something that you've been plagued by in previous games and you're like, oh, I wonder if they fixed that, then you can go and check it out there. They've changed a few of the milestones as well, so maybe these have been ones that people have been having difficulties with, so they've dropped the kills on a couple of things, they've dropped how much score you need on some of them, they've changed the scan dart achievement milestone, entirely, so instead of getting 5,000 assist score, you just have to get 50 targets scanned, so that's something there. In regards to the basic infantry patches that they've made, they've changed a lot of like the heat gained per shot on a lot of the different classes with some of the weapons, and they've also fixed up some of the scope issues that people have been having. The biggest thing to take away from all of this is they've nerfed the crap out of the dodge ability, so when you roll in the game. So they reckon that it's been a bit too overpowered. And so what you have to do now is you have to be a lot more on point. You have to have faster reflexes, because the window in which you reap the benefits for rolling is now smaller. So you can't just sort of like roll really preemptively before someone even starts shooting at you or throws a grenade or something like that. You have to sort of know exactly, you have to have a really good feel for the environment and then make your move like that in order to get the benefits. So who knows, that might change things up a little bit, might get some people more kills, and it might get people more killed. With this patch as well, they've released some new skins for Luke, Leia, and Han. They've been given the Hoth apparel that they wear in Episode 5. From memory, they did the same thing in Battlefront 1. After a couple of months, they released the same 3 skins for these heroes. So in order to get these, they've been a bit vague about it in the patch notes, but you have to unlock them through timed challenges. And I think there's only a particular challenge you can get for a limited amount of time. So keep your eyes peeled, because it seems like it's if you don't get it now, then you don't get it ever sort of deal. So yeah, that's just another thing that they threw in there. But let's move on to what we've all been waiting for, which is the nerfs made to the heroes. Starting off with Boba Fett, they've made some changes to his maneuverability and accuracy. So his jetpack is apparently easier to control. I haven't played him yet, but apparently it's much easier, much more fluid to use. The EE3 should now be more accurate and can shoot at a further distance, including the drop-off damage starting at 20 meters, whereas it used to start at 15 meters. Iden Versio has received some changes to her droid stun, which is something that had actually really annoyed me when I was playing her competitively online. Now it takes less time for the droid stun to actually start on your enemies than it did before. There was quite a long gap between when you pressed the button to when the droid actually did its business, and as a result they've reduced the damage from 50 to 40. Bosk has received a reduced recoil and quite a significant reduction in recoil from his Relby V10. So the recoil used to be 5, now it's 2.2. They've also decreased the damage from the explosive traps, and apparently there was a bug where when he put his traps down, when the card was at its epic star card level, the radius that it says the traps are at was not actually what was being put down in the game. It was actually bigger. So Bosk was having this massive AoE damage getting put out. So they've fixed that bug right up there. Rey has received a nerf to her signature ability Insight, which I'm really glad that they have done, because she could, when paired up with certain cards, could get the massive range of 75 meters to reveal the enemy's targets. So they've reduced her initial radius from 50 down to 30. She's also had a reduction in mind control radius, so that's gone from 20 to 18, and her far sight doesn't give as much of a bonus now. They've reduced the cooldown time on some of Kylo Ren's abilities, so Pull has now gone down from 25 to 20, and Freeze has gone down from 25 to 24 seconds, because he had both of those on a 25-second timer, and they felt that he wasn't as much fun to play as other people because it took him so long before he could get back into using his abilities. His Frenzy has also now given him a 40% damage absorption while it's active, because the developers felt that he was a lot more susceptible to taking damage while in that animation. Luke has had quite a bit of tweaking. They're actually changing the way that he's played a little bit more. They're pushing him into more of a hit and run game style. So his sprint speed has increased by 0.6 of a meter per second. His health has increased from 700 to 750. His health regen rate has increased from 50 to 110. They've also decreased the regeneration delay from 5 to 2.7, and they've decreased the max regeneration amount from 250 to 200. So I think that they've seen how people have been playing Luke, and now they're adapting his stats to complement the way that everyone has been using him. There's finally been a nerf on Emperor Palpatine, so now, with Dark Aura and his default lightning abilities, he requires a line of sight on his enemies in order to start damaging them, which is fantastic because I am sick of getting hit from just about anywhere from the Emperor, and as a result of them taking away this capacity to get through walls, they've increased the reach of his ability from 12 to 14 meters, because now he can only hit people with his line of sight, so they're just sort of balancing him out a little bit that way. Another much needed nerf comes to Chewbacca, who has had one of the longest stun duration abilities in the game, and everyone knows that it is really frustrating to fight against. So they've reduced the shock time of his stun grenade from 1.6 seconds down to 1 second. They've also reduced his bowcaster side projectiles explosive damage from 25 to 21, and they've reduced the furious bowcaster side projectiles explosive damage from 12 to 10. So that big spread, that 45-degree spread that comes out of his bowcaster, isn't going to do as much damage as it did before. With Yoda, the developers think that they have made him a little bit too weak by comparison to the other lightsaber-wielding characters, so as a result they've upped a lot of his damage and given him quite the buff. So his lightsaber now has an increased damage from 80 to 115. His barrier ability can now actually break out of immobilizing effects on activation, and his unleash has had a bit of a buff, so his increased holding time from 0.7 to 0.9 seconds. It's an increased angle from 40 to 45 degrees, increased the damage depending on the tier, so the starting damage is a little bit more impressive than it was before. Lando has had 2 changes to his cooldown time, so on Disruptor the recharge time has reduced from 25 to 19 seconds, and the smoke grenade has reduced from 15 to 14 seconds. Like Luke, Darth Vader has had a bit of a change. They're trying to make him a little bit more tanky. So when he activates his focused rage, he now receives a temporary 200 health bonus upon activation, and as a result, they've reduced his max health from 900 to 800. We move on to Captain Phasma, where they have fixed her staff. Finally, this was like such an impossible thing to use. Like, I had so much difficulty using it. So now with the staff strikes, they've increased the animation speed of the ability, and they've increased the transition speed between each strike. They've also increased how quickly she can use her blaster after performing a staff strike. Now, this will make her a much more usable hero. That is all of the big stuff you need to know about patch 1.2. As I said before, I'll leave the link to the patch notes in the description so you can go and have a look at some of the things I didn't touch base on. I hope you enjoyed the patch. I hope you enjoyed Jetpack Cargo. Let me know in the comments what you think, because I'm having the best time ever with it. But thank you so much for watching. Hope it's been helpful. Don't forget to hit that like button and ring that bell so you can stay up to date with all the news to do with Battlefront 2. In the meantime, thanks again, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you on the Battlefront.